Joining us now is Lawrence Tabas, who's the chairperson of the Pennsylvania Republican Party. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, you've been in this job since 2019.
That's right, 4.5 years.
Yeah, that's a tough job.
It is. I had a lot more hair when I started.
Pennsylvania is once again going to be a key battleground state. How much pressure does that put on the state parties?
An enormous amount of pressure. I mean, we get reminded of that all of the time by the national party and the national campaign organizations. But we're used to it. We've been a battleground state for many years now, and we're looking forward to it. We have some great candidates. We think we have great issues that will be supporting us, and we're very optimistic.
What will you do different this time around to deliver Pennsylvania for the presidential race?
Well, first and foremost, we have got to continue to advance our mail-in ballot strategy. For 3 years, we didn't have much of one because the president at the time was opposed to it and made a lot of Republicans in our state reluctant to vote by mail. But last year I was successful in getting a turnaround and educating our voters, getting the former president to endorse it and many others. And we made progress last year. We're 3 years behind the Democrats, but we're catching up rapidly.
So you're embracing that now?
Fully, 100%. It is a major part of our strategy going forward.
Do you see that as really the only path to winning races in Pennsylvania?
It's not the only path, but if we don't have an effective mail-in ballot strategy, it's going to be very difficult to win.
A recent AP poll said that 58% of voters are somewhat or very disapproving of Trump as the candidate. And the same goes for Biden on the Democratic side. But how do you go up against those kind of numbers?
Well, again, as you said, even President Biden has very high unfavorable ratings as well. It's an unusual situation for our nation. Well, we focus in Pennsylvania on our state. I mean, we have a U.S. Senate race. We have all our congressional seats. We have our 3-row offices and our legislature. So that's where we put the state party resources and efforts go, mostly behind those candidacies. Presidential campaigns, they're national. But our focus will be primarily on our state races, starting with the U.S. Senate race.
But yet the presidential race often brings out a lot more voters.
Absolutely does. In fact, even though President Trump did not win in 2020, he brought out enough voters that elected Stacey Garrity treasurer and Tim DeFore auditor general, which was the first time since 1956 that we won both of those offices.
But we also had a Democrat win the gubernatorial race.
It did, that's correct. And but we are optimistic going forward. We've shown that our registration numbers have been phenomenal. We've closed the gap dramatically. Democrats and independents are now re-registering as Republicans. So we feel very good going into 24.
Yeah, the Democrats always had an edge in Pennsylvania.
Big edge. When I started, it was 1.2 million. Now it's closer to 400,000. That's a major change.
You mentioned the U.S. Senate race, and the state party endorsed Dave McCormick pretty early on for that kind of race.
It was a historic endorsement that we got for him the year before. He is a phenomenal candidate. He has the background, 82nd Airborne, a successful businessman, just a brilliant guy. And we were lucky to have him. And we know that to beat Bob Casey, you can't wait until 24, so we endorsed him in 23.
And Bob Casey, of course, is a 6-term senator, so I guess that is somewhat of an uphill battle. It
is, but most voters cannot really connect Bob Casey to any particular issue. Many of the polls show that a majority of voters think maybe it's time for a change for him in that office. And I think you're going to find that people believe that Dave McCormick is more likely to make our Commonwealth feel safer, stronger, and more secure.
What about the polarization, not only in this country, but in Pennsylvania? What do you make of that?
It's unfortunate. I don't like it. I mean, as a nation, we have our differences as political parties and everything. We have different, philosophical issues that sometimes divide us. But, we have a common goal. We love America. We want it to be the best country in the world for everybody, even those that don't vote for us. The polarization has been a problem. And I hope that we can start to bring people back together. Certainly the COVID shutdown, keeping people apart, didn't help with that. But we have to start showing more respect And we have to show that we can articulate our positions without being wild or extreme or offensive.
Right, with civility.
Civility is the right word, yes.
Mr. Tabas, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.